I was alone when she asked me, was it worth it? She didn't say it harshly, just softly, like she was checking my temperature or asking how the pain was. Her voice was calm, almost casual, the way someone speaks when they don't realize they're about to open a door that can't be closed again. But that question, that one question, cracked something in me that had been sealed for a long time. I didn't answer right away. I stared at the wall for maybe a full minute, listening to the steady click of the IV beside me. The room smelled faintly of antiseptic and old paper. Outside, the afternoon sun hit the window blinds in thin strips, laying shadows across the floor like quiet bars. I'm 87 years old. My name is Frank Delaney. I drove buses for 42 years in Pittsburgh. Same route, same stops, same early mornings watching the city wake up through a windshield. I knew the streets better than I knew most people. I could tell the season by the way the air felt at 5:30 a.m. I could tell which passengers were running late just by the way they walked toward the curb. I've had the same breakfast nearly every morning since 1971. Oatmeal and black coffee. No sugar. No cream. Ruth used to joke that I was the most predictable man alive. I married her in 1960. She was 21, full of energy, always humming while she cleaned. We had 2 boys, then a third after a miscarriage that neither of us knew how to talk about. We lived in a modest house, nothing big, a small yard, a porch light that flickered when the weather got bad. I was never the kind of man who needed a lot, but I needed more time. Not more years, I've had plenty of those. I mean time I can remember. Because that's the strange thing. Most of my life now feels like something I can't quite reach. Like trying to grab smoke with an open hand. I know it was there. I know it mattered. But when I try to hold it, it slips through. The question came out of nowhere. It was a Tuesday. Or a Wednesday. I don't know anymore. The days run together now, soft and indistinct. A young hospice nurse was switching out my meds. New girl, maybe 25. She smiled politely, the way people do when they're trying to be kind without getting too close. She said, "You've lived a long time, Mr. Delaney. Do you feel like it was worth it? Worth it?" As if life could be added up like numbers on a page. After she left, I kept hearing it in my head. The words echoed louder than the machines in the room. I thought about my answer for hours. And I thought about the biggest lie I ever believed. If you just keep going, it'll all make sense. That lie was quiet. It didn't arrive like a warning. It arrived like advice. Like something responsible people told each other. Just keep going. Work hard. Stay steady. Don't make trouble. That lie kept me working through birthdays. It kept me silent through fights I should have fixed. It kept me focused on small things. Grass length, oil changes, coupons, while the big things bled out quietly in the background. I believed that if I stayed reliable, if I did what a man was supposed to do, one day I'd look up and feel proud of the story I'd built. But life doesn't work like that. I didn't build a story. I built a routine. And routines are sneaky. They feel safe. They feel productive. They feel like you're doing something right. Days stack neatly on top of each other. Weeks become months. Months become decades. I'd wake up before dawn. Ruth would already be dressed, packing lunches for the boys. I'd sit at the kitchen table, sip my coffee, kiss her forehead, and head out the door. That was the shape of our mornings for 40 years. And I thought that was enough. I thought that was what life was supposed to be. Just keep going. It'll all make sense later. That was always the promise. Later. Not now. Not today. Not in the middle of the ordinary. Later, when the bills were paid. Later, when the boys were grown. Later, when work slowed down. Later, when there was finally room to breathe. So I kept going. I drove my route. I punched my clock. I came home tired in the way a man feels proud to be tired. Ruth would ask simple questions. How was the day? And I'd answer with simple words. I'm fine. Same. Busy. And same. We didn't fight much. People think that means a marriage was peaceful. But silence can be its own kind of weather. Years passed in small repetitions. The depot, the coffee, the evening news murmuring in the background, the boys getting taller, louder, then eventually leaving. I noticed the big milestones, of course. Graduations, weddings, funerals. But the middle disappeared. I didn't realize how much of life lives in the middle. I thought I was being responsible. I thought I was doing what a man does, providing, staying steady, not complaining. And Ruth, in her quiet way, adjusted herself around my steadiness. She learned not to interrupt my routines. She learned to speak softly when I was reading. She learned to let moments pass if I didn't reach for them. And I didn't. Not because I didn't love her, because I didn't notice. That's the part that still unsettles me. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't angry. I wasn't absent in the dramatic way people talk about. I was just elsewhere, inside my own schedule, inside the comfort of repetition. I kept thinking there would be time. Then one day, there was an object, a small thing, almost nothing, a watch. Ruth gave it to me on our 25th anniversary. Nothing fancy. A clean white face, thin black hands, a brown leather band that smelled new and sharp when I first opened the box. She fastened it around my wrist herself, her fingers warm against my skin. I thought of you, she said. I remember that. I remember the way she looked at me when she said it, like she was offering something more than a watch. For years I wore it every day. It ticked quietly under my sleeve while I drove the bus. It was there through winters, through rain, through long shifts and early mornings. Then the band cracked. Just a small split near the buckle. The leather dried out. I told myself I'd fix it. I could replace the strap easily. I just needed to stop somewhere after work, take 5 minutes, handle it. But 5 minutes became weeks. Weeks became months. The watch sat in a drawer. One evening, Ruth was clearing dishes after dinner. The kitchen smelled like dish soap and roasted chicken. The radio was on low, some old song playing behind the clink of plates. She paused, her back to me. "Do you still wear the watch?" she asked. Her voice wasn't accusing. It was careful, almost gentle. I didn't look up right away. I was reading the paper, scanning headlines I wouldn't remember. "It broke," I said. Just that. It broke. There was a silence so complete I could hear the refrigerator hum. I could hear the faint ticking of the clock above the stove. I could even hear my own breathing, slow and automatic. Ruth didn't respond. She didn't turn around. She just stood there for a moment, holding a plate, motionless, like something inside her had gone quiet. Then she nodded once. A small nod. And she kept washing the dishes. The water ran. The radio kept playing. The world continued exactly as it always had. But something had shifted in that silence. Something I didn't name. Something I didn't fix. The watch stayed in the drawer. And so did whatever she had been trying to give me. The years after that blurred faster. Ruth got quieter. I told myself it was age, fatigue, life. I didn't press. Pressing felt unnecessary. We were stable. We were fine. That was the word I used for everything. Fine. Then she was gone. Not in a dramatic way. No long speech. No movie moment. Just a hospital room, pale sheets, her hand cooling in mine while machines whispered around us. I remember the smell of disinfectant, the way her wedding ring looked too loose on her finger at the end. After the funeral, the house felt wrong. Too open. Too still. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore. It was loud. That weekend, my grandson came to visit. He was 5, maybe 6, small enough that his shoes lit up when he walked. He carried a crumpled piece of paper like it was treasure. "Grandpa," he said, climbing onto the couch beside me, "I made this for you." I named him. He held it out. A drawing. A dinosaur, I think. Green scribbles, big teeth, a sun in the corner. The paper smelled like marker ink, that sharp chemical sweetness kids leave behind on everything. "We can play after dinner," he said, eyes bright. I smiled. I meant it. I really did. After dinner, I sat in my chair, the one Ruth used to tease me about. The living room lamp cast a soft yellow circle. Outside, the porch light flickered faintly, buzzing like it always had. My grandson brought his toys closer, arranging them on the carpet. "Ready?" he asked. I opened my mouth to answer, but my eyelids felt heavy. Just for a second, I told myself, just a second. The next thing I knew, the room was dark. Morning light spilled through the blinds in the same thin strips. My neck ached from sleeping wrong. The house was silent again. On the coffee table, the drawing lay flat. Beside it, a half-empty juice box, a crumpled napkin, the kind of small mess a child leaves behind. At the bottom of the picture, in big wobbly letters, he had written, "Maybe next time we can play, maybe next time." The words hit harder than anything sharp. I picked up the paper. My fingers trembled slightly. The ink smelled fresh, like it hadn't even had time to fade yet. I could almost hear his voice saying it, hopeful, polite, already learning how to soften disappointment. The house stayed quiet. No footsteps. No laughter. No small shoes lighting up across the floor. Just me. And that piece of paper, I sat there for a long time, staring at it until my eyes burned. Not sad. Ashamed. Because it wasn't about that one nap. It was the pattern. Routine is a thief, it steals quietly. The same pattern that made me pull my hand away from Ruth's without thinking. The same pattern that made later feel endless. The lie returned, clear as ever. If you just keep going, it'll all make sense. I went. I kept going. And I missed it. Ruth's soft humming in the kitchen. My boys fighting over cereal. A warm hand reaching for mine. A child asking to play. Life didn't leave all at once. It leaked out, moment by moment, while I was busy being fine. And now, when I try to replay my life, it isn't full scenes. It's bus breaks in winter. Ruth's dish soap on her hands. My grandson's sneakers blinking across the floor. Maybe next time we can play. That's what's left. So if you're listening to me right now, let me be honest, in a way no one was honest with me. You are not guaranteed a wake-up moment. You don't get a warning bell. You don't get a dramatic pause where life asks if you're paying attention. It just keeps moving. Dinner ends. Kids grow. Hands stop reaching. And one day, you'll look down and realize the most important things were happening quietly, right beside you. Interrupt the pattern. Tonight, put your phone face down at dinner. Ask one person, what's been heavy for you lately? Then listen long enough to make it uncomfortable. If this hit, follow next time I'll tell you about the porch light that went out. Because maybe next time is the most dangerous sentence in the world. Sometimes, next time never comes.